Now,
That's
Paul,
what I
you're talking about this slightly different vibration. I've heard some mediums say that they can't work with ETs because it's a different vibration to spirit.
Absolutely. So this is something that everybody has to remember, that if you're working with spirit people, I'll give you an example. We've got 3 seance rooms in this house, and one is for spirit, for physical, another one's for healing, another one's for the Zetas. If we try to have a sitting with a spirit person speaking, the spirit person leaves, we've got to wait about 10 minutes for that spirit people to shift their energy away, clear it, the extraterrestrial energy to come in for them to speak. And what happens is at that point is if spirit people try to come back, they can't come back at all because the energies are too different. Yeah. Now, other people may say that that doesn't happen to them, and that's okay. People, whatever they want to. But for us, that's how it works for us. And I would understand if a person goes, like, you know, if you, and this is what I found. So I had very strong mental mediumship and worked with hundreds of spirits with people, you know, giving messages, that sort of thing. And then when the ET came, I lost contact with spirits for 2 years.
Yeah, Paul, you were saying about how you can't merge both in the one room, an ET as well as spirit. Is that with all ETs, all interdimensional beings, or are some able to be used in the same room, if that makes sense?
I would suggest that, from my experience, that you would have to really sit down and talk to your spirit team and ask them how they were blending with that energy, because this could cause a medium's development to become completely dysfunctional. You know, you could have fantastic contact with your spirits, and then you bring in someone else, an ET entity or whatever, and you completely lose contact. So, you know, nobody can tell anybody you can't do that. But what is possible is what your spirit team tell you is the relationship they have with other beings. Now, the underlying rule is that ET are not to interfere with spirit people's free will. That's the first thing. So you'll quite often find that you'll have shamanic type spirits that specifically were working with ET when they were physical, when they were alive. Those spirit people come in to work with mediums, and then they develop the blended environment, allowing races to come in. I don't see anybody that's able to work with the Zetas or the Greys, if you want to call them that, and spirits at the same time. It just doesn't work. But it doesn't mean that it's not possible with other races, for sure.
Yes, because I sat with a medium before where the either an interdimensional being has come forward. It's totally obliterated the spirit person that was talking at the time. But in saying that, once again, the room was still used for spirit contact. So the energy wasn't affected. So that's why I was wondering, obviously different races.
Yeah, so no. So this is the thing. Think about this. You've got a radio and you've got it down on low and you're listening to a song. The amplitude of the volume is very low. But if you turn it up really high and it's really loud, every time you go into that room, the music's really loud. That means that the signal that you're getting from the beings is quite strong. So I would suggest that initially when people are getting contact, there's a balance between spirit realm and ET, and it just takes a bit of clearing out to get them to come in. But at some point, you'll either go one way or the other, or you'll either have physical phenomenon or you'll either have extraterrestrial contact. At that point, that specific place where that medium sits may then be no longer available to spirit people if they're working with ET. But that could only be for a short time, say a week or so, as the energy, you know, bleeds away from the process. If that person,
I wonder if that's what happened with the Scole group, Paul.
I love Scole and I love talking about it.
Because you remember at the end they were getting ET contact, and then suddenly their spirit contact stopped.
So what happened there was, this is so amazing because it happened to me too. With Scole, they were using the Alice, Yeah, and the Alice was the portal for the ET to come through. Now, the problem with the portal was that there was some level of energetic distortion, or I don't like the word corruption, but anyway. And so at that point in time, the frequency in the room started to shift and they lost contact with spirit people. This happened to us as well. But the difference was that the Zetas decided not to use any physical material as a gateway. And what they did was they used the medium's body as the gateway to different races. And that meant that there was a lot of training that was involved in that process taking place. So we bypassed, we nearly had to close down ourselves after 5 years, exactly at that 5-year process like Scole. Very interesting.